So in today's video, we're going to go into a little bit more insight and detail of the Charlie Kirk shooting and where the investigation is currently. Now, we're going to be watching a video from the Officer Tatum, or also known as Brandon Tatum. And I think it's very important that more people in today's world and in the time of all this media and craziness going on, I think it's very important that more people listen to level-headed people like the Officer Tatum and not to all these conspiracy theorists that are going crazy and rampant out there on the internet today. But without further ado, let's roll the first clip.
There was an autopsy done.
Right.
And there's no entry, and this is not an exit wound, according to the autopsy, which is very clear. But people, for some reason, they don't want to believe that the autopsy is there. The autopsy yielded, they found out, and I don't want to say too much, but the autopsy yielded where the entry wound was and how the bullet killed him. It's already been determined. They found the bullet lodged in his body. They can tell you exactly where, what was severed, what killed him, where the bullet traveled from his neck down through his body. They have it all, fragmentation of the round that spouted through his body. They have all of that investigated through an autopsy, and it's given over to the FBI. So they know exactly what happened to Charlie. It is no question that there was no entry wound anywhere else in his body. There's no question. And people still push it.
Now, it's important to remember that he knows a lot of this information and the details and things that are going on because he did work with Charlie Kirk. He knows Candace Owens personally. He knows a lot of people from Turning Point USA that allow him to understand the details and to be able to break down the footage of the Charlie Kirk shooting a little bit more in depth and have a little bit more understanding than someone like myself who doesn't know anybody from Turning Point USA other than Charlie Kirk from watching his videos. Now, I've been watching the Officer Tatum for some time now. For some years, before he even got 1 million subscribers, and I think he's almost at 4 million subscribers now. But one thing that I've always respected about him is he sticks to the facts and he is honest with his opinion, and he almost never is wrong or mistaken when it comes to the way he's analyzing stuff. And if he is ever wrong, he always comes out and lets us know, hey, that was my bad, I made a mess up. But let's roll the next clip.
Yeah, people are going to claim that the FBI are lying.
Yeah, but
I don't know how to respond to that.
Well, Warren, it's like it's too complex because the FBI in DC isn't the FBI in Salt Lake City, and the coroner's office isn't associated with the federal government whatsoever. And so and the doctor isn't really associated, who operated on Charlie, isn't associated with the coroner's office. These are different agencies that we're talking about. Now, the FBI is connected, but Kesh Patel have no idea what they were investigating when they initially went to investigate in Salt Lake City at his death. The people who put the crime scene tape up, who collected evidence, the people who collected the gun, all of those people were Salt Lake City FBI division. That's not DC FBI. So Kesh Patel is not privy to everything that they're doing. They're operating according to the way they should operate on any investigation. Now, there could be a conglomerate approach where at some point they let Kesh Patel know where they are at in the investigation, but Kesh Patel can't tell you the person that collected the rifle.
Now, one thing I forgot to mention at the beginning of the video is the reason he calls himself the Officer Tatum, for those of you that don't know, is that he actually used to be a cop. So that gives even more validity to what he's saying, and that is the reason he understands the way investigations work and the way that handling evidence goes and filling out documents when it comes to reports and all of that good stuff. Something that I'm not very privy to, but he has been through it personally and has firsthand experience with doing these things. So it's vital in hearing his feedback and his opinion on the way that the investigation is going. Let's roll the next clip.
Because when you do stuff like collecting a rifle, an individual with a badge number or an employee number has to get the product, put it in a bag. He has to sign off after securing the product or securing the evidence that he is the one that secured the evidence. He has to take that evidence, document it in a supplementary case report to document what he did, storing it in his vehicle, in the trunk, in the front seat. He has to explain all of this in a supplementary report. Then he has to take it to a facility that is not associated with the FBI. It is a crime lab. And then he put it in the system, and the system checks it in, and he gives his sign off on paperwork that it was him, and he transferred it, and he, through penalty of perjury, that he was the only one that had custody of it. There's a seal on a product that he signed his name over, and it goes through a whole process, and then it's loaded into the system, and then there's a person on the other side that has to sign off that they received it, and they took it to a lab, and they test fired 3 times, and it's complicated stuff here.
Now, me personally, I don't think that half of these conspiracy theorists even believe their own conspiracy. I truly believe that they're chasing after clicks and views, and they see that when they post a video about some type of conspiracy, their views skyrocket. And especially when you're making a video or making some type of newfound discovery on a story as hot as this current one, as and so globally known as the Charlie Kirk shooting. I saw one guy talk about he believed that the shooter actually came out of the sewer that was next to Charlie on the side of him like a ninja turtle and was able to shoot him that way, which makes no sense because Charlie got shot from straight on, and that dude would have had to been like somebody from the Wanted movie and curve the bullet to hit Charlie where he was actually hit. It makes no sense, but everybody has their own thought on what actually happened with Charlie. Let's roll the final clip.
Because there's so much misinformation out there that it's really hurting. It could hurt this case, because when you are putting content out, and the plethora of people who are putting content out, and you're getting hundreds of millions of views on this content, you're potentially tainting the jury pool, because everybody in America is paying attention to this case. Everybody in America has had some exposure to something. And if you are out here pushing an agenda or pushing a scenario where the FBI is involved and there's reasonable doubt, what jury are you going to be able to get that's still impartial with that having a subconscious thought about impropriety? And you don't want that to happen, because you get somebody who get on the jury pool and they just say, no matter what, he didn't do it, because they're convinced through the information they've seen online. And you get one juror, and you get one jury that dissents, and you get a hung jury. And this person who possibly killed Charlie will be able to get off scot-free. If you begin to expose or taint evidence, it may be inadmissible in court, because if the evidence is tainted or is somehow not legitimized, the defense can say, we want to strike this down as inadmissible. This evidence has been manipulated, or whatever the case may be. It's been compromised. The prosecution has let regular citizens see this information before the defense has been able to see it. And they're saying it's unfair. We didn't have a chance to prepare for this, and you put it out in the public, and the defense didn't have a chance to combat it. We want to strike this evidence as inadmissible in court. And a judge may say, okay.
So it's a breath of fresh air, in my opinion, to see somebody who is talking level-headedly. They are having a conversation based off of the facts, and they have an understanding of how the processes go when it comes to handling evidence and the investigation, and even influencing jurors in the future trial. But that's all I got for you guys today. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you on the next one.